Yes, welcome back. Let's read.
Energy Policy of India. This article may require cleanup to meet Wikipedia's quality standards. The specific problem is, a lot of detail needs deleting or moving to energy in India because it is hard for readers to find the policy info. Please help improve this article if you can. January 2022. Learn how and when to remove this template message. This article needs to be updated. The reason given is, new studies such as HTTP URL need adding. Please help update this article to reflect recent events or newly available information. June 2022. The energy policy of India is to increase the locally produced energy in India and reduce energy poverty, with more focus on developing alternative sources of energy, particularly nuclear, solar and wind energy. Net energy import dependency was 40.9% in 2021 to 22. The primary energy consumption in India grew by 13.3% in FY 2022-23 and is the third biggest with 6% global share after China and USA. The total primary energy consumption from coal, 452.2 to 45.88%, crude oil, 239.1 to 29.55%, natural gas, 49.9 to 6.17%, nuclear energy, 8.8 to 1.09%, hydroelectricity, 31.6 to 3.91%, and renewable power, 27.5 to 3.40%, is 809.2 to, excluding traditional biomass use, in the calendar year 2018. In 2018, India's net imports are nearly 205.3 million tons of crude oil and its products, 26.3 to of LNG and 141.7 to coal, totaling to 373.3 to of primary energy, which is equal to 46.13% of total primary energy consumption. India is largely dependent on fossil fuel imports to meet its energy demands by 2030. India's dependence on energy imports is expected to exceed 53% of the country's total energy consumption. About 80% of India's electricity generation is from fossil fuels. India is surplus in electricity generation and also a marginal exporter of electricity in 2017. Since the end of the calendar year 2015, huge power generation capacity has been idling for want of electricity demand. India ranks second after China in renewables production with 208.7 to in 2016. The carbon intensity in India was 0.29 kilograms of CO2 per kW in 2016, which is more than that of USA, China and EU. The total man-made CO2 emissions from energy, process emissions, methane, and flaring is 2,797.2 million tons of CO2 in CY 2021, which is 7.2% of global emissions. The energy intensity of agriculture sector is 7 times less than industrial sector in 2022 to 23, see table 8.9. In 2020 to 21, the per capita energy consumption is 0.6557 to excluding traditional biomass use, and the energy intensity of the Indian economy is 0.2233 megajoules per INR. 53.4 kcal/INR. India attained 63% overall energy self-sufficiency in 2017. Due to rapid economic expansion, India has one of the world's fastest growing energy markets and is expected to be the second largest contributor to the increase in global energy demand by 2035, accounting for 18% of the rise in global energy consumption. Given India's growing energy demands and limited domestic oil and gas reserves, the country has ambitious plans to expand its renewable and most worked-out nuclear power program. India has the world's fourth largest wind power market and also plans to add about 100,000 MW of solar power capacity by 2022. India also envisages to increase the contribution of nuclear power to overall electricity generation capacity from 4.2% to 9% within 25 years. The country has 5 nuclear reactors under construction, third highest in the world, and plans to construct 18 additional nuclear reactors, second highest in the world, by 2025. During the year 2018, the total investment in energy sector by India was 4.1%, $75 billion, of $1.85 trillion global investment. Indian solar power PV tariff has fallen to 2.44, 3.1 cent US per kilowatt-hour in May 2017, which is lower than any other type of power generation in India. In the year 2020, the levelized tariff in US dollars for solar PV electricity has fallen to 1.35 cents /kilowatt-hour. Also, the international tariff of solar thermal storage power plants has fallen to US $0.063 /kilowatt-hour, which is cheaper than fossil fuel plants. The cheaper hybrid solar power, mix of solar PV, wind power, and solar thermal storage power, need not depend on costly and polluting coal/gas-fired power generation for ensuring stable grid operation. Solar electricity price is going to become the benchmark price for deciding the other fuel prices, petroleum products, natural gas /biogas /LNG, CNG, LPG, coal, lignite, biomass, etc., based on their ultimate use and advantages. The energy policy of India is characterized by trade-offs between 4 major drivers: a rapidly growing economy, with a need for dependable and reliable supply of electricity, gas, and petroleum products, increasing household incomes, with a need for an affordable and adequate supply of electricity, and clean cooking fuels, limited domestic reserves of fossil fuels, and the need to import a vast fraction of the natural gas, and crude oil, and recently the need to import coal as well, and indoor, urban and regional environmental impacts, necessitating the need for the adoption of cleaner fuels and cleaner technologies. In recent years, these challenges have led to a major set of continuing reforms, restructuring, and a focus on energy conservation. Oil and gas, edit. See also, oil and gas industry in India. India ranks third in oil consumption with 4.669 million barrels /day in 2020 after USA and China. During the calendar year 2019, India imported 221.7 million tons of crude oil and 44.4 million tons of refined petroleum products and exported 60.7 million tons of refined petroleum products. India is the second biggest net importer of crude oil and its products after China. India has built surplus world-class refining capacity using imported crude oil for exporting refined petroleum products. The net imports of crude oil is lesser by 1/4 after accounting exports and imports of refined petroleum products. Natural gas production was 26.9 billion cubic meters and consumption 59.7 billion cubic meters during the calendar year 2019. During the financial year 2012-13, the production of crude oil was 37.86 million tons and 40,679 million standard cubic meters, nearly 26.85 million tons, natural gas. The net import of crude oil and petroleum products is 146.70 million tons worth of Rs 5,611.40 billion. This includes 9.53 million tons of LNG imports worth of Rs 282.15 billion. Internationally, LNG price, 1 million TEU of LNG equals 0.1724 barrels of crude oil, BOE, equals 29.52 cubic meters of natural gas equals 21 kilograms of natural gas equals 29.2 liters diesel equals 21.3 kilograms LPG equals 0.293 MWh, is fixed below crude oil price in terms of heating value. LNG is slowly gaining its role as direct-use fuel in the road and marine transport without regasification. By the end of June 2016, LNG price has fallen by nearly 50% below its oil parity price, making it more economical fuel than diesel/gas oil in transport sector. In 2012-13, India consumed 15.744 million tons petrol and 69.179 million tons diesel, which are mainly produced from imported crude oil at a huge foreign exchange outgo. Using natural gas for heating, cooking and electricity generation is not economical, as more and more locally produced natural gas will be converted into LNG for use in the transport sector to reduce crude oil imports. In addition to the conventional natural gas production, coal gasification, coal bed methane, coal mine methane and biogas digesters / renewable natural gas will also become a source of LNG, forming decentralized base for the production of LNG to cater to the widely distributed demand. There is possibility to convert most of the heavy-duty vehicles, including diesel-driven rail engines, into LNG-fueled vehicles to reduce diesel consumption drastically with operational cost and least pollution benefits. Also, the break-even price at user end for switching from imported coal to LNG in electricity generation is estimated near $6 per million British thermal units, $20/MWh. The advent of cheaper marine CNG transport will restrict LNG use in high-end transport sector to replace costly liquid fuels, leaving imported CNG use for other needs. As the marine CNG transport is economical for medium-distance transport and has fast unloading flexibility at many ports without costly unloading facilities, they have become alternate solution to submarine gas pipelines. Natural gas / methane can also be converted cheaply into hydrogen gas and carbon black without emitting any greenhouse gas for use in the transport sector with fuel cell vehicle technology. The state-owned Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, ONGC, acquired shares in oil fields in countries like Sudan, Syria, Iran, and Nigeria, investments that have led to diplomatic tensions with the United States. Because of political instability in the Middle East and increasing domestic demand for energy, India is keen on decreasing its dependency on OPEC to meet its oil demand, and increasing its energy security. Several Indian oil companies, primarily led by ONGC and Reliance Industries, have started a massive hunt for oil in several regions in India, including Rajasthan, Krishna Godavari Basin and northeastern Himalayas. India has nearly 63 TCF technically recoverable resources of shale gas which can meet all its needs for 20 years if exploited. India is developing an offshore gas field in Mozambique. The proposed Iran-Pakistan-India pipeline is a part of India's plan to meet its increasing energy demand. Coal, edit. See also, coal by country and coal mining in India. India has the world's third largest proven coal reserves with nearly 177 billion metric tons as on the 1st of April 2021. In India, coal is the bulk primary energy contributor with 56.90% share equivalent to 452.2 mt in 2018. India is the second largest producer of coal in 2023. India is also the second largest importer of coal 141.7 mt in 2018 and the second largest consumer of coal with 452.2 mt in 2018. India is also home to the world's largest coal company, Coal India Limited, which controls 85% of the country's coal production with 7.8% production share of coal, including lignite, in the world. Top 5 hard and brown coal producing countries in 2013, 2012 are million tons China 3,680, 3,645, United States 893, 922, India 605, 607, Australia 478, 453, and Indonesia 421, 386. However, India ranks 5th in global coal production at 228 mt, 5.9%, in 2013 when its inferior quality coal tonnage is converted into tons of oil equivalent. Coal-fired power plants account for 59% of India's installed electricity capacity. After electricity production, coal is also used for cement production in substantial quantity. Pet coke availability, at a cheaper price than local coal, is replacing coal in cement plants. In financial year 2021-22, India imported nearly 209 million tons of steam coal and coking coal, which is 20% of total consumption to meet the demand in electricity, cement, and steel production. In the FY 2021-22, India imported nearly 57.16 million tons, 90%, of coking coal against the consumption of 63.74 mt. Gasification of coal or lignite or pet coke produces syngas or coal gas or coke oven gas, which is a mixture of hydrogen, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide gases. Coal gas can be converted into synthetic natural gas, SNG, by using Fischer-Tropsch process at low pressure and high temperature. Coal gas can also be produced by underground coal gasification, where the coal deposits are located deep in the ground or uneconomical to mine the coal. CNG and LNG are emerging as economical alternatives to diesel oil with the escalation in international crude oil prices. Synthetic natural gas production technologies have tremendous scope to meet the transport sector requirements fully using the locally available coal in India. Dankuni Coal Complex is producing syngas, which is piped to the industrial users in Calcutta. Many coal-based fertilizer plants which are shut down can also be retrofitted economically to produce SNG, as LNG and CNG fetch good price by substituting imports. Recently, Indian government fixed the natural gas price at producer end as $5.61 per million British thermal units, $19.1/MWh, on net calorific value, NCV, basis, which is at par with the estimated SNG price from coal. Talcher coal-based fertilizer plant is under final stages of execution to produce 1.21 million tons of urea. This plant is designed to use local coal mixed with pet coke available from crude oil refineries. India is planning to use 100 million tons of coal for gasification by 2030. Biofuels, edit. See also, second-generation biofuels. Gasification of biomass yields wood gas or syngas which can be converted into carbon-neutral methanol. Nearly 750 million tons of non-edible, by-cattle, biomass is available annually in India which can be put to higher value addition use and substitute imported crude oil, coal, LNG, urea fertilizer, nuclear fuels, etc. It is estimated that the renewable and carbon-neutral biomass resources of India can replace the present consumption of all fossil fuels when used productively. Biomass is going to play a crucial role to make India self-sufficient in the energy sector and carbon neutral. A huge quantity of imported coal is being used in pulverized coal-fired power stations. Raw biomass cannot be used in pulverized coal mills as they are difficult to grind into fine powder due to caking property of raw biomass. However, biomass can be used after torrefaction in the pulverized coal mills to replace imported coal. Northwest and southern regions can replace imported coal use with torrefied biomass where surplus agriculture /crop residual biomass is available. Biomass power plants can also get extra income by selling the Renewable Purchase Certificates, RPC. Central government has made co-firing, minimum 5%, of biomass mandatory from October 2022 in all coal-fired plants. In cement production, carbon-neutral biomass is being used to replace coal for reducing carbon footprint drastically. Biogas or natural gas or methane produced from farm/agro/crop/domestic waste can also be used for producing protein-rich feed for cattle/fish/poultry/pet animals economically by cultivating Methylococcus capsulatus bacteria culture in a decentralized manner near to the rural/consumption areas with tiny land and water footprint. With the availability of CO2 gas as byproduct from these units, cheaper production cost of algae oil from algae or spirulina particularly in tropical countries like India would displace the prime position of crude oil in near future. Reliance Industries is already producing hydrogen from torrefied biomass from its pet coke /coal gasifiers and planning to install a blue hydrogen pilot plant of 50 tons per day plant using a catalytic gasification process. India's 3 oil marketing companies, OMCs, are currently setting up 12 second-generation ethanol plants across the country which will collect agriculture waste from farmers and convert it into bioethanol. In 2018, India has set a target to produce 15 million tons of biogas bio-CNG by installing 5,000 large-scale commercial-type biogas plants which can produce daily 12.5 tons of bio-CNG by each plant. As of May 2022, nearly 35 such plants are in operation. Biopropane is also produced from non-edible vegetable oils, used cooking oil, waste animal fats, etc. Nuclear power, edit. Further information, nuclear power in India. The Kudankulam nuclear power plant, 2x1000 MW, in Tamil Nadu while under construction. India boasts a quickly advancing and active nuclear power program. It is expected to have 20 GW of nuclear capacity by 2020, though it currently stands as 9th in the world in terms of nuclear capacity. An Achilles heel of the Indian nuclear power program is the fact that India is not a signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This has many times in its history prevented it from obtaining nuclear technology vital to expanding its nuclear industry. Another consequence of this is that much of its program has been domestically developed much like its nuclear weapons program. The United States-India Peaceful Atomic Energy Cooperation Act seems to be a way to get access to advanced nuclear technologies for India. Further information, India's 3-stage nuclear power program, India has been using imported enriched uranium and is under International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, safeguards, but it has developed various aspects of the nuclear fuel cycle to support its reactors. The development of select technologies has been strongly affected by limited imports. The use of heavy water reactors has been particularly attractive for the nation because it allows uranium to be burnt with little to no enrichment. India has also done a great amount of work in the development of a thorium-centered fuel cycle. While uranium deposits in the nation are extremely limited, there are much greater reserves of thorium, and it could provide hundreds of times the energy with the same mass of fuel. The fact that thorium can theoretically be utilized in heavy water reactors has tied the development of the two. A prototype reactor that would burn uranium-plutonium fuel while irradiating a thorium blanket is under construction at the Madras/Kalpakkam Atomic Power Station. Uranium used for the weapons program has been separate from the power program using uranium from scant indigenous reserves. Hydroelectricity, edit. See also, hydroelectric power in India and power sector of Andhra Pradesh pumped storage hydroelectricity projects. India is endowed with economically exploitable and viable hydro potential assessed to be about 125,570 MW at 60% capacity factor. India ranked 4th globally by underutilized hydropower potential. In addition, 6,780 MW in terms of installed capacity from small, mini, and micro hydel schemes have been assessed. Also, 56 sites for pumped storage schemes, PSS, with an aggregate installed capacity of 94,000 MW have been identified for catering to peak electricity demand and water pumping for irrigation needs. It is the most widely used form of renewable energy, but the economically exploitable hydropower potential keeps on varying due to technological developments and the comparable cost of electricity generation from other sources. The hydroelectric potential of India ranks 5th in terms of exploitable hydro potential on the global scenario. The installed capacity of hydropower is 45,315 MW as of the 31st of May 2018. India ranks 6th in hydroelectricity generation globally after China, Canada, Brazil, USA, and Russia. During the year 2017 to 18, the total hydroelectricity generation in India is 126.123 billion kilowatt-hour, which works out to 24,000 MW at a 60% capacity factor. Till now, the hydroelectricity sector is dominated by the state and central government-owned companies, but this sector is going to grow faster with the participation of the private sector in developing the hydro potential located in the Himalaya mountain ranges including northeast of India. However, the hydropower potential in central India forming part of Godavari, Mahanadi and Narmada river basins has not yet been developed on a major scale due to potential opposition from the tribal population. Pumped storage including off-the-river pumped storage power schemes are perfect centralized peaking power stations for load management in the electricity grid dominated by variable renewable energy generation such as solar and wind power. PSS would be in high demand for meeting peak load demand and storing the surplus electricity as India graduates from an electricity deficit to an electricity surplus. They also produce secondary forward/seasonal power at no additional cost when rivers are flooding with excess water. Storing electricity by other alternative systems such as batteries, compressed air storage systems, etc. is costlier than electricity production by standby generator. India has already established nearly 4,785 MW pumped storage capacity, which is part of its installed hydro power plants. Wind power, Edit. Main article, Wind power in India. India has the fourth largest installed wind power capacity in the world. As of the 31st of December, 2017, the installed capacity of wind power was 32,848 MW, an increase of 4,148 MW over the previous year. Wind power accounts for nearly 10% of India's total installed power generation capacity and generated 52.666 billion kilowatt-hour in the fiscal year 2017.